Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Hisui Cup. So new rotation of leagues, and we're going to have a new meta to work with. First, we're going to be using the Cresselia with the Bastiodon and Probopass here. We are fishing for a main team, but unfortunately not the best lead for us. So we're going to have to just sack the Probopass. I'm going to come back in with the Cresselia. This Cresselia is going to try... Okay, will they go for a move? Now we have a decision to make. Are we going to farm down, or we're going to allow it to throw a move? It was getting very close. They were one fast move away from another Mud Bomb, so we actually just decided to go for the Grass Knot. They switch out, and they're going to be using their Cresselia against our Bastiodon. So this is kind of a prolonged matchup. This is going to damage the health of our Bastiodon as the battle goes on. So this is not looking good, to be honest, because they do still have that Bastiodon. So playing this out, they're just going to throw a bunch of Grass Knots. At this point, I think our only win condition here is a timeout. So we're going to shield here. We get the opposing Cresselia into the red, but then they have a full health Bastiodon still, so not looking great as far as the health advantage. So not gonna hold up too much hope for the win here. If anything, we are looking for a timeout strategy, but I don't even think we're even gonna get to the timeout, because the fact that they still have two shields and our Bastion is really low and our Cresselia is really low, it's not looking great. Alright, next we're going to just throw this flamethrower here to try to, I don't know, get them so low that we can throw a Grass Knot at it. Not likely, but so we know our fate here, so we're just gonna allow it to go through. So GG's to our opponent right there. Just a little bit of hard counter, nothing more to it than that. They did end up having the Bastiodon Toxicroak core. Just bad alignment. Alright, next we got the Cresselia versus the Electrode. Pretty neutral for the most part. We're basically waiting for them to throw a wild charge. If they throw a wild charge, most likely they're going to try to switch out. They do decide to switch out. Now it allows our Cresselia to throw a free move. Try to get a debuff, no debuff. Since they're staying in for a little bit, we're going to throw this Grass Knot here to threaten a shield, because they're going to be relatively low. And then now we're just going to go into our Probopass with the shield advantage and health advantage. Potential Earthquake right there, so we decide to shield. We're going to throw this Rock Slide. This Rock Slide is going to potentially KO the Gliscor. Now our opponent is most likely going to bring back in the Electrode. Makes sense. Now we're just going to play this out. They do have the neutral energy ball, so neutral energy ball is, you know, what is that, 20%, maybe 15% damage. And then we're going to try to get to another Rock Slide. Do we survive another energy ball? No. But since we know that they brought in their Electrode into the Probopass, we can safely bring in our Bastion right there to try to get a head start on energy. And that is indeed the case. So GG's, on to the next game. That was crazy. First game took, I don't know, over two minutes, and the next game took under 2 minutes. Okay, perfectly where we want to find it. Gastrodon is looking for these steel rock types floating around. So we did get lucky with a great lead. They switch into their Drapion as their safe switch. We're going to go into our Probopass here. We are doing some significant fast move damage. As you can see, the Drapion has gone to 2 crunches and it still hasn't taken out. And now he's threatening a KO. They are going to shield, but luckily we are able to get to another Rock Slide. This is going to get a KO, or shield, or get this really low. And all we have to do now is just shield and farm down. And we have maintain alignment. Alignment here is super important. And there we go. So Bastiodon versus Bastiodon. We know that we are at a 1 fast move disadvantage. This 1 fast move disadvantage is not a big deal, because both of these Bastions are really healthy. And all we have to do now is just make sure that we switch when they switch. Don't try to get too cute with anything. We just got to maintain alignment here. As you can see, both of us are, well, first off, they're trying to throw on CAP, but we're not going to allow them to do that. The timers have reset here, so they try to catch a move, and we were aware of that. So we do switch out when they switch out. We do go for this Grass Knot to take it out immediately. And now we are in a huge advantage because even though the Bastion has a great matchup against Cresselia, we would be doing some neutral Grass Knots, and that would chip away at it. So that is GG's. On to the next game. So it is an ABB team. We got the Cresselia and the 2 rock types in the back. Funny enough, we're fishing for Mantines, but we haven't seen any. So this is a pretty good matchup here. Obviously, we do not want this Empoleon against our backline. We're going to shield here because we want him to eventually switch out, but they're deciding to stay in. Luckily, we do have these Grass Knots to throw back at this Empoleon. This next Hydro Cannon here, it potentially could have got us low enough to where they could have farmed us down, so that's why we decided to shield right there. We're going to go for another Grass Knot to pressure shield or the KO. They actually just let it go. And now that they're bringing an Ice Type, this is perfect. We're going to switch out immediately. We do have the Probopass for this. They're going to throw a move, most likely a Shadow Ball. It does roughly 40%, something like that. And then they bring in a Cherrim. So interesting combinations that they have. Empoleon, Frostlass makes sense, but the Cherrim here is interesting. We're going to throw this Rock Slide here. Does some good neutral damage. We're going to be able to get to another Rock Slide. This is going to get it into the red. It shouldn't KO. No, it shouldn't. And then these fast moves for our Probopass are chipping away at this Cherrim. We're going to come back in with the Bastiodon, and this is all but over because this process has no chance at this XL Bastiodon, especially with our Smackdown. You can see that Shadow Ball, I don't know, did about 15%, maybe even less. So they would have had to get to at least 4 or 5 Shadow Balls just to get through, and by that time we would have been able to smack them down. All right, next game, let's see what we find. We have the Cresselia versus Toxicroak, huge advantage right there. They switch into their Bastiodon, which is interesting. So that was a key switch right there. If we would have matched them Bastion versus Bastiodon, we probably would have lost. Luckily, this Probopass is a better matchup against this Bastiodon because we do have this neutral Zap Cannon and potential debuff right there. That is great news. We get that debuff to make this even more difficult for this opposing Bastiodon. They only could throw these flamethrowers, which weren't doing a lot, but even with the debuff, it's even doing less damage. So another Zap Cannon goes through, does a good amount of neutral damage, and at this point, we have it so low, we don't have to worry about anything too crazy. Our opponent is going to be coming back in with the Toxicroak. We do get a Rock Slide to go through. We do get a shield out of that situation, so really, really, really good. And then they switch into their Frostlass. We have the Bastion waiting for them. This is all but over again. Once again, these Shadow Balls are not going to do anything. I don't know, that one did about 15%, maybe even less. But this is a clear farm down, and we just want this Bastiodon as low as possible so that the opposing Toxicroak doesn't get a lot of farm. They're going to get a good, 1, 2, 3 counters in. We're going to get a Flamethrower to go through, and at this point, because of the Cycle Cuts doing double super effective, we're just going to fast move, double shield, or just shield all the way and just fast move. So GG's to our opponent right there. Check out this team if you haven't already, and let us know if you enjoyed the video.